Doppler radar, sponsored by bankruptcy attorney E. Orem Young. Now, your local weather with meteorologist Brian Briggs.
Well, good Wednesday morning to you. Hopefully your day is off to a wonderful start. So far, we're off to a quiet start here in the Arklamis, but things are going to be changing as we head in the course of today, and especially for tomorrow as Laura starts to move through our area. But let's dive right into what we can expect for today. At least in the short term, it's going to be remaining fairly quiet here. Live storm tracker Doppler radar not showing much, just aside from a few very isolated showers that are kind of starting to fall apart, at least at this time. And we'll see a few dry hours this morning before the outer bands of Laura start to move in. So in anticipation for that, we do have tropical storm warnings for the western half of the Arklamis, at least in the blue. You're seeing those folks, though, in the yellow up north. That is a tropical storm watch. And hurricane warnings just towards the south and west are in red. So depending on where Laura ultimately ends up will determine whether or not we see hurricane force winds maybe in our southern and western parishes. At this time, though, it looks like we'll be dealing with mainly tropical storm force winds. In addition to this, we do have a flash flood watch for the western half of the Arklamis. And again, this is all dependent on Laura's track. Right now, at least, it looks like the heaviest rainfall will be on the western sides of the Arklamis. So speaking of Laura right now, still sitting on a hurricane and really is not expected to downgrade to a tropical storm until it makes landfall here. But generally staying at Category 2 strength. We'll know more in about 15 minutes with the next update here, but it is making a beeline towards the northwest, and it's going to eventually work its way closer to the Texas-Louisiana coastline by the time we get to Thursday morning, very early Thursday morning. Expected to make landfall at a major hurricane status at Category 3. However, until then, looking like it's going to be a Category 4 by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon. So very rapid intensification is going on with the storm, considering that we do have very warm sea surface temperatures. And there has been a very slight eastward shift in the track as of the latest update, which puts it a little bit closer back to the Arklamis for the Thursday time frame in general. So again, we've been seeing it trending a little bit west as of yesterday. Now it's moving a little bit east as we go through the course today. So again, tracking and timing and intensity still kind of up in the air at this time, but generally it looks like impacts will still be felt across the Arklamis. In terms of severe weather, though, we have that potential today with one of Laura's outer bands, and that will come later during the afternoon and evening, especially into the overnight hours. The threat that we could see is that isolated tornado potential that develops with these outer bands, and through the course of tonight, that rain and wind and storm activity will continue to increase in coverage and intensity, especially closer to sunrise here for the Arklamis as Laura continues to push northward. So by this time tomorrow, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of rain, quite a bit of wind, and maybe even a few severe thunderstorms, and that'll continue through the day on Thursday, and eventually getting out of here by Thursday night. We'll be dealing with some showers and thunderstorms for our Friday before rain chances start to taper off. So as far as our severe thunderstorm potential is concerned, generally the highest threat remains along our southern parishes for today. A little bit less threat the further north you go, but it is still there. Marginal risk for those in green, slight risk for those in yellow. As far as our Thursday, all of us generally are under a little bit elevated potential for the threat here for tornadic activity and possible rainfall totals. Again, at least looks like the western half of the area will have the highest potential, about 5 to 6 inches plus, maybe even higher than that, depending on where the band's set up, and generally 2 to 3 inches for everybody else. So a quick look at the 7-day forecast shows that we're going to be remaining generally unsettled, although those rain chances will start to downturn by the time we get to the weekend. Also going to be tracking a cold front by the time we get to next week.